started the series, we talked about nutrition being probably one of the most important components, or one of the most key components to having good health. As we eat good food, a food that is whole food, plant-based with variety. But it's not the only food that we need. There's also more food, and that's in God's Word. As we look at really having good health, bananas don't heal you. Beans don't heal you. Fresh air and exercise, they don't heal you. Only God does the healing. Now, God blesses the food, just as if when we sit down and we eat breakfast, and as we eat dinner, and as we eat supper, we thank God for our food, and we ask God to bless it and give us strong blood and strong bodies and minds and muscles and tendons. See, it won't do it on its own as effective, but when God blesses it, it works a whole lot better. And so as we look at exercise, as we look at fresh air and water and rest, ask God to bless those too, because it is God that does the healing. It's so important. I'd like to share a few things today as we look at trusting in God. There's a huge issue out there. The number one cause, or the number one diagnosis in America is stress. Now, according to the World Health Organization, soon that's going to be replaced by depression will be the number one diagnosis in America. But right now it's still stress. How do you deal with stress effectively? Yes, getting your sleep and drinking water and exercise, they're all great with lowering stress. But the most important thing is trusting God. Can I share a few things with y'all? Let's go to Matthew. Matthew 11. Verses 28 through 30. Matthew 11, verse 28 through 30. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. You know, that's huge. You know, if it's kind of like, remember as a kid, and you can go to dad and there's safety, or you can go to mom and there's safety. Well, there's safety in going to God. And He wants to take care of us. A mama chicken puts her chickens under her wings. Come unto me, all ye that are labor and are heavy laden. Are you heavy laden? A lot of folks are heavy laden right now. And I will give you rest. That's a huge promise. Another one is in Psalms. Let's look at Psalms. Psalms 18. This is David writing. Psalms 18, 2 and 3. Psalms 18, verse 2 and 3. The Lord is my rock and my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler, and the horn of my salvation, and my high tower. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. You know, as we look out there today, times are getting tough. Whether it's the economy, whether it's diseases, whatever it is, I tell you, safety is in God. It's huge. You know, in Texas, they have a saying, as the cowboy goes out there and he gets on a really tough bull or a really tough horse, they say, wrap that rope around your hand one more time so you got a good hold on them. And I encourage you that God is that rope. Christ is that rope that you can grab a hold of. And that's where your security is. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust. The next one comes from Psalms also, Psalms 37. David continues talking with us here. Psalms 37. And let's look at 3 through 6. Psalms 37, verse 3 through 6. Trust in the Lord and do good. so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. The Bible is very conditional. If-then statements. If you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. And so what's the condition here to have that we will be fed? Trust in the Lord and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thy heart. Do you have desires of your heart? Do you want to have a better relationship with your children? Do you want to have a better relationship with your spouse? Do you want to have a better relationship with your boss? Whatever it may be. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thy heart. Do you believe it? You got to ask him. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. That's huge, y'all. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as a light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Let's go to Proverbs. We'll go over to Proverbs, David's son. Looking at Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 8. Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 8. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. How often do we do that? How often do we do things based on our understanding or what we've been told? What the media has told us, what a teacher has told us, what a boss has told us, whoever. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. And again, one time I knew this fella. He was a teacher, and he said, Walt, he said he was a Baptist friend of mine. He said, Walt, he'd gone up and got his PhD, and he says, sometimes we get overeducated. He says, when I was younger and not educated, I trusted God more. He says, now I have to figure everything out, and there has to be a reason. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones. Let's continue in Proverbs 17. And we're going to look at 22. Proverbs 17, 22. And I like this. It's a neat song to sing. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. A number of years ago, I was speaking up in New York, and we were addressing this issue here, and this lady stood up and she raised her hand. She says, "Can I say something?" I said, "Sure." She said, "My specialty as a medical doctor in New York City is bone marrow." She said, if a person is happy, the bone marrow produces a chemical that helps to boost the immune system. She said, but if you're not happy, the bone marrow does not produce that chemical to boost your immune system. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. I think I like that medicine. Let's continue on. We're going to go to Isaiah. We're going to Isaiah 26, verses 4 and 5. Isaiah 26, verses 4 and 5. Trust ye in the Lord forever. Trust ye in the Lord for how long? Until it's convenient? No, forever. For in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. You know, as we started this series, we talked about, are you looking for energy? Are you looking for more strength? Here's your strength, y'all. Yes, we need to eat. We got to drink water. We got to get our sleep. We've got to exercise. Why? So we'll have healthy blood, so we'll have healthy brains, so we can discern God better, so that we can have that strength to trust Him. But here's the key, y'all. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. For he bringeth down them that dwell on high in lofty city. He layeth it low. He layeth it low even to the ground. He bringeth it even to the dust. Where do you want to be, y'all? Do you want to be the one that he gives you everlasting strength? And let me look at another one here. Let's go to Exodus. This is really cool. Exodus 23. Verses 25. Exodus 23, 25. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water. I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. So who takes away sickness? God does. And so as you apply these simple laws of health, these simple keys that we've talked about in this series, nutrition, exercise, water, fresh air, sunshine, having temperance, making the right decisions, having adequate sleep. That's all important. And it all comes together as you do this. I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. It is God that has this power. Let me read one more, if I can. Bear with me one more. It's in Exodus. Exodus 15. This is really neat. A really neat promise that God has given us. Exodus 15, 26. And he said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, that's number 1. 2, wilt do that which is right unto his sight, number 2. And will give ear to his commandments, 3. And will keep all his statutes, 4. And I believe health, being healthy and following health laws is part of statutes. I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee. And it's so important for us to keep in mind where the true source of healing is. Yes, we have to do our part. We've got to eat our bananas and our apples and our oranges and our grapes and our beans and our rice and our nuts and our seeds. We've got to have our exercise and water and sleep. But God blesses those, and that's what gives us the health. One last thing. Many people come to me and they have stress. And they try to figure out, what can I do for the stress? And I have them write down everything that stresses them on a piece of paper. Write every stressor you have that bothers you. I have a lady that her son is, he's in prison. And she may never be able to see him again, or maybe never hug him again. And I had her do this. It's just terribly distressful for her. And so I said, write down everything that stresses you, and then take another piece of paper and draw a T. On the top of the left side, put controllables. On the other side, put non-controllables. And on the things which you can't control, there's never a thing you can do. You can't fret over it, cry over it, or whatever and fix it. Write those down on the non-controllable side. And those which you can do something about, write them down on the controllable side. And then I want you to take that piece of paper and I want you to rip that paper in half. The part that says non-controllable, sit down with God and talk with him and ask him to take those problems, such as that lady who may never see her son again because he's in prison. She may never hug him again because he's in prison and she doesn't have that access. It may be a spouse that you lost or a child that you lost or whatever it may be. You can't fix it. Fretting isn't going to fix it. But take it to God and ask God to take care of that for you. And then take the other list that says controllable and work with God and address those. Yes, your spouse passed away. Your children may have passed away. This child is in prison. But let God have the worrying part of that. And now the devil's going to come back to you. And he's going to dangle that piece of paper in front of you. And say to him, that's not mine. That's God's. Now go and get out of here. In Jesus' name, Satan, get thee behind me. Go talk to God about that problem. That's not mine anymore. And yes, if it's for that son who's still in prison, you can pray for him. But give that worrying to God. It's amazing how much that can help with stress. So as we look at this series, how can you have a healthier family? How can you help to have more energy, to lose weight, to prevent maybe diabetes or heart disease? I encourage you to look at these 8 laws that we've looked at. Nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, making the right decisions, temperance, fresh air, get adequate rest, but most important, trusting God. Thank you for joining us.